AskReddit by AMGBOI 69420. People who work for the super wealthy, what stuff have you seen? Worked as one of 4 full-time groundskeepers at a large estate, 46 acres of lawn to mow twice a week, 2 clay tennis courts, 3 pools, 1 for the main house and 1 for each of the 2 guest houses, 100+ acre private lake with boathouse. No clue how big the whole estate was including the woods. Personal favorite was the 3-mile personal racetrack. But what really blew my mind was that he hosted his niece's wedding one summer, paid $350K to have this massive willow tree trucked in and planted by the lake for wedding photos, only to pay another $50K to have it removed and the landscaping returned to its original state after the wedding because he did not like the look of it. I've always wondered, can you actually move and resoil massive mature trees? Like if you see a gorgeous massive tree on a hill somewhere and you're thinking, man, I wish I'd have this tree in my backyard, does it mean you can actually do it? Take it out with roots and all and replant it somewhere else? I often do work for the wives of wealthy professionals. The thing that has always stood out to me is that if I tell them that something they want isn't doable, they respond with literal confusion. It isn't anger. It's confusion. They are so unaccustomed to not being given exactly what they want that it's as if they don't understand what is happening when they are told they can't have something. You don't say that's impossible, what you do is you give them an extremely outrageous price and they will pay it. I used to work at a members only golf country club. There were members who had been actors, athletes, race car drivers, former CEO of Google, some major money and egos going on. There was one family that had 3 teenage kids, 2 girls and a boy. The mom and the girls were very attractive and knew it. They always looked amazing and had overly entitled attitudes to match. They were fancy. Well, the lady who washed the linens for the county club also did house cleaning for some members. This family was one of them. She said their multi-million-dollar home was a disaster filth zone. They basically did no housework in between having the cleaning lady there. Dishes piled with dried food that smelled, dirty clothes thrown everywhere, piles of crap all over, sticky floors, dog poop left on the floor. But the nastiest part was the bathrooms. She said they wouldn't empty their bathroom trash. If you're that rich and you're paying people to come clean for you, why not pay them to come every day? Had a client come into our 3D printing office. His attention was immediately caught by a large industrial 3D printer in our showroom. Pulled out a credit card and bought a $250K machine on the spot. Best part was when we installed the machine at his facility. First thing he wanted to print was a meter-tall penis. Few weeks after the install we got a photo of him standing next to the meter penis. Money well spent. First thing I printed with my ender was a penis. To this day, nothing I've printed has come out as clean, though I'm admittedly not great at it. Not the craziest thing but wild to me. I was working for a kind of well-off family during a summer. I went inside to get a drink and the mom was cleaning the kitchen, putting things away and such. She picks up a MacBook and says to me, "Hey, do you want this? No one uses it, got a brand new MacBook for college." My mom was a maid growing up, not for the hyper wealthy but for wealthy people. I got so much free shit growing up because of them, it's insane. Clothes with tags on it, boxes of VHS's, I'm old, Gamma Boys, computers whenever they upgraded. It was actually really nice, because the people my mom worked for were very nice and generous. My brother-in-law built custom homes in the redneck Riviera belt of Florida. One day, he called me to come over to this $15 million beach house he was doing a complete remodel of. He was the original builder. He asked me to bring my truck and trailer. I show up, and he walks me through all 4 floors. He then says, "The owners have removed all the stuff they want to keep. She has told me to dispose of everything as I see fit. Get what you want. Furniture, appliances, outdoor furniture, rugs, lamps, artwork, you name it. I don't know the value of everything I took home with me that day, but it was the highest end stuff I've ever seen. 4 floors of it, and I only got one trailer load because I simply couldn't fit anything else in my house. I likely had over $20k worth of furniture and appliances on that trailer. Man, I would have rented a U-Haul and storage space. You possibly could have made 6 figures selling all that stuff. Pumped a bunch of money into the Malibu City Council in order to change a few seats. This would allow him to have the local ordinance changed so his front doors could be taller than 20 feet. An old boss did extremely well and sold off the lion's share of his ownership but wanted to stay involved in the company anyway, so he'd drive his absurd supercar to the office and just hang out. One day he came into the office and it was set up in such a way that the executive offices were in a little 2x2 office glass pod in the middle, with curtains for privacy if needed, and our rows were arrayed around them. He sat in his little glass office all day and cleaned his handguns. I'll say this though, he wasn't a bad dude. We may not have seen eye to eye on politics, but if you worked for the company he knew your name and would hang around and chat. Super generous around the holidays with time off and the big holiday party, door prizes, stuff of that nature. The company went way downhill when he finally let go of the reins completely. I work for UPS and it makes me really envious to hear from the old timers at the company what it was like when Jim Casey, the founder, was still in control of the company. It seemed like the moment he died, people were just waiting to screw it all up. My sister is a butler for a super wealthy family. She told me a couple crazy stories. The family once got this super expensive rare breed cat and a few months later the wife tells my sister she can feel the cat isn't quite happy in their house, so she asks her to take their private jet to drop the cat off in their mansion on Lake Como, Italy so it could spend a holiday in the sun. That same woman would then sometimes berate my sister for buying soap and plastic dispensers instead of just soap bars because it's bad for our planet. They bought this insanely huge super luxurious cabin in one of the most expensive ski stations in Switzerland. They realized the cabin, more like a mansion really, right next to theirs was for sale and then bought that one as well just so they wouldn't have close neighbors. I thought our cats were spoiled. But now that they've heard the private jet and mansion on Lake Como story, I'm on probation. Clearly I've been slacking off on providing accommodations befitting their status. I set up a party for a family out in the Hamptons that bought the house next door just to level it and set up a giant temporary party tent on the plot. Wild shit. Somehow, this story is the wildest one to me. Do you know what they did with the plot after the party? Bodyguarded someone filthy rich with next to no class whatsoever. He bought a very sought after rare classic car from a renowned Italian car maker, had the roof taken off, painted it a ridiculous pink sparkle color and put it on the roof of one of his most central buildings in the middle of a large European city. The Italian car maker offered to buy the car presumably because they were absolutely disgusted with what he'd done to the car and didn't want the abomination to get further exposure as they felt it damaged their brand tremendously. He sold it to them. Was then banned from ever purchasing factory new models from that brand ever again globally. Let me guess, it was a Ferrari. I moved the guy that created eBay. He had Aretha Franklin's grand piano, played it, and Elvis Presley's coat, didn't wear it. I always wanted to know what kind of weird shit you'd be able to get on eBay if you owned it. Now I know. The owner of my company had a customer pay off a giant debt by signing over a yacht to him. When he went to the marina to get the storage info transferred to his name and saw how much it cost to store the yacht there, he bought the marina. Galaxy brain right there. Also he had the spare cash to buy a marina, I guess. The kids, all young 20s, never shut the door when using the bathroom. Plenty times while cleaning the house I'd walk past the bathroom and see one of their daughters on the can. They'd often wave or say hi. Fucking odd. My dad does this. Maybe there's an inheritance I'm not expecting. My bro worked on a super yacht, quit the day he saw a 14-year-old take a massive shit on the deck and tell him to clean it up. Same reason I walked. I was supposed to be machine maintenance. The owner has a private bathroom in his office. I was tasked with unclogging a turd that was about the same size as a Yeti 46-ounce water bottle. I told them in my interview that I don't have the stomach to clean toilets. Had a client who purchased a newly built penthouse apartment and wanted a jacuzzi on the balcony. It would have meant a structural column was needed in the middle of the balcony below which the contractor who built the apartment block wouldn't go for as it would impact selling that apartment. Client buys the apartment below, approves the column, jacuzzi is installed, then privately sells the apartment below. Voila, problem solved. A few years ago a rich French guy opened a school. French people here might be able to connect the dot. A bit before the grand opening, the staff was having a small party on the roof and rich guy came in. He asked them if they had everything they need. Someone said, jokingly, that it was missing a jacuzzi. A few days later, a jacuzzi was delivered on the roof. I do high-end florals in very rich area. See tons of obscene shows of wealth all the time. The amount of money some of these people spend of flowers alone is unfathomable. The one that I always come back to is a client who we were decorating their house for Christmas, and as I was hanging garland around their 6-car garage, a separate garage than the one connected to the house, I look in to see each of the 6 spots has a car elevator and is 3 cars deep. So there were 18 of the same exact $350 K plus car. Why would anyone need 18 of the same exact car, let alone one that expensive ? In case one of them runs out of gas, you got another ready. My sister worked on a private yacht of one of the old money us families. She said the parents all seemed okay, the kids though were fucked up, shitting the bed every night, drugs constantly, poor social skills. Yeah, so basically I'm guessing the parents weren't quite as alright as it seemed. Maybe they looked the part, but kids like that aren't born in a vacuum. I interned a long time ago where we had to clear every single check or credit card charge with a guy's parent because he got conned into joining a cult and the leader kept getting him to piss away his trust fund. Once there were enough checks and balances in place, he got kicked out of the cult for not paying up anymore. I felt bad for the guy. He was actually pretty nice, but his parents just pawned him off on the help while they traveled, and he was an easy mark because the cult made him feel loved. This is sad. I did a catering job years ago for John Paul DeJoria, Patron Tequila and Paul Mitchell, and his house was awesome. Riverside, Texas Hill Country. Beautiful place. We were packing up at the end of the night and the security guard came by and said, stay away from the windows, we are locking up. We said okay, and about 5 minutes later these metal drop down armor plates came out of the roof, it seemed, and covered each window and door. Thick metal plating armor. I have groomed his dogs on that property. It's amazing. That metal tree outside. Bonkers. Never work for millionaires. They are just trying to prove something. Work for billionaires. They know what they want and will just pay what it costs to get it right. A caretaker getting paid 6 American figures for keeping up a multi-million-dollar house that gets used 2 weeks a year. Millionaires show that money is no object. Billionaires' money literally is no object. Obviously everyone is different. I remember reading an anecdote on a similar thread where a waiter, I think said at the club he worked for, groups of millionaires would shell out for a ridiculous drink tab ordering the most expensive wines and cocktails. Billionaire would show up and get a Coke when there is no actual difference between $3 and $3,000 to you. You get what you want. I had a client gamble away $220,000 in one night. Terrence Watanabe's story is fucking wild. https://en.wikipedia.org/wiki/Terrence_Watanabe . He sold his family's business, Oriental Trading, and lost $204 million in the next few years gambling. He went completely broke, and had the nerve to start a $100K GoFundMe campaign in 2017 when he got cancer. He's pretty well off again, unfortunately, because someone bought the movie rights to his idiotic life. Nick Cage. I didn't work for him, but I worked beside his former private island. He would just sit on the beach and stare into the ocean all day. Radiant heated driveways to melt snow. A turntable to rotate their car so they didn't have to back out of their driveway. Lifts in the garage so they can park cars underneath each other. The heated driveway's not the most expensive thing in the world. It's not cheap, but definitely within the realm of possibility for even someone upper middle class, although in today's day and age that might as well mean rich AF. They're getting more common around Canada because shoveling snow fucking sucks. Have a buddy that owns a window cleaning business. Came out to an estate to bid on the job, inside and out for the entire property. Owner decided to just do half, and it was over $13K in 2 days for a large crew to complete. When my friend cashed the check, he noticed the memo: Windows, house number 5. LMAO, I'm gonna have to start filling out my checks that way. Hands check at the car wash. 2008 Corolla number 12. We did a ladies shower one time during the middle of a nasty divorce. The shower was 6-10 feet with the entire ceiling covered in shower heads. Since he was off with half the office, I figured I'd get the other half all in here. Lady was a baller. $500 tip for everyone who worked on that bathroom because it was her ex's money. Edit. We redid the glass to her shower when I was at a glass shop. How the actual plumbing and stuff worked is beyond me. My job was to bring in giant panes of glass, attach them to the wall floors, waterproof the seals, and IP. With how large her house was and the other 2 smaller houses that were attached, I'm sure she had enough money to throw at someone to solve those plumbing problems. Honestly, having a shower like that sounds like the dream. I want that now. Or at least one that just delivers a splash of water that cleans you in no time. My friend is a mechanic. A wealthy, fat, famous and all-round unlikable entrepreneur came into his work one day and took a liking to his co-worker. He asked my friend's co-worker to come and work for him maintaining his car collection. It was really good pay and he got to work on some cool cars, so he thought, why not?